So there's this word, Ubuntu. Maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't, but I can pretty much guarantee you've seen its impact. I mean, this is an ancient African idea that helped bring down apartheid, inspired leaders all over the world, and get this, it even fueled a legendary NBA championship run. So, what is this powerful philosophy really all about? Let's dive in.
You've probably seen this phrase around. It's the go-to translation for Ubuntu. But as we're about to find out, there is a whole universe of meaning packed into just those 5 simple words. And that's the big question we're going to tackle today. We're going to trace its roots, listen to the people who brought it to the world stage, and see how it actually works in real life.
All right, let's start with the basics. What exactly is Ubuntu?
Okay, so at its absolute core, Ubuntu is all about interconnectedness. Think of it like this. In a lot of Western cultures, the focus is on the individual. I think, therefore I am. Well, Ubuntu just completely flips that script. It says our very humanity isn't something we have on our own. It's something created through our relationships with other people. It's this massive, fundamental shift from I to we. And what's so fascinating is that while Ubuntu is the name we hear most often, this idea is woven into the fabric of the entire continent. Just look at this. In Botswana, it's called Botho. In Kenya and Tanzania, Utu. In Zimbabwe, Unu. It's a shared heritage with so many different names, all pointing to that same powerful idea of our shared humanity. Now, the idea itself is ancient, passed down for generations. But its journey as a formal philosophy really picks up steam in the 20th century. Back in the mid-1800s, it just meant something like humanity or goodness. Then, fast forward to the decolonization movements, and it starts being framed as a unique African humanism. And then, of course, in the 1990s, it became the moral compass for a new South Africa emerging from the darkness of apartheid. So let's turn to the incredible people who really defined this idea for the rest of the world. You really can't talk about Ubuntu's global reach without talking about Archbishop Desmond Tutu. I mean, as the chair of South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission, he had the monumental task of healing a nation that was just torn apart. And his tool for doing that? He called it Ubuntu theology. See, for Tutu, this wasn't just some nice, fuzzy idea. It was a call to action. It meant recognizing that your humanity is literally tied to everyone else's. So if someone is oppressed, you are diminished too. We are all connected in this greater whole. And then, of course, there's Nelson Mandela. These shots are from an interview back in 2006, where he explained Ubuntu not as some abstract philosophy, but as a real, practical way to live. He didn't just talk about it, he used it as the very foundation to build a new, unified rainbow nation. Mandela loved to use this simple, practical story to explain it. It's about generosity, sure, but it's deeper than that. It's about a sense of collective responsibility. The central question shifts from what can I get to what can I do to help my entire community get better. Okay, so we've heard the definitions, we've heard from its champions, but what does a philosophy like this actually look like in practice? How do you apply it to something as complex as law or social policy? This is probably one of the most powerful examples you'll ever see of a philosophy in action. When South Africa was dismantling apartheid, it had a choice: revenge or reconciliation. And by writing Ubuntu right into its interim constitution, it chose understanding over vengeance. It was a roadmap for healing. And this slide, wow, this really shows how different Ubuntu justice is from a lot of other systems. Take a look at the steps. The first priority isn't punishment, not at all. It's about restoring the balance in the community. It's about making things right, repairing those broken relationships. And only then, as a last resort, does punishment even enter the picture. And its influence just keeps spreading. In education, it's inspiring new ways of teaching that focus on community health over just individual achievement. In social work, it offers a framework centered on African values as a powerful alternative to Western individualism. It's even created a whole new model for foreign policy called Ubuntu diplomacy, which is all about partnership instead of power plays.
Now, as Ubuntu has gone global, it's also naturally come under a more critical lens. So let's get into some of the more complex debates around the philosophy.
So it's really important to get this. Ubuntu isn't just about everyone holding hands and singing together. There are different ways to look at it. The popular view definitely emphasizes harmony, but some scholars argue it's way more nuanced than that. It also has to account for the messier parts of being human. I mean, think about it. Breaking away from an oppressor is, by definition, a broken relationship. but it's a necessary and authentic one.
And like any powerful idea, it's not immune to criticism. Some feminist scholars have pointed out a really tricky tension here. While Ubuntu preaches community, certain interpretations can actually be used to enforce traditional roles that limit women's autonomy. Where a woman's value is defined by her relationship to the group, not as an individual. It's a crucial reminder that no philosophy is a magic bullet, and we always have to think critically about how these big ideas play out.
So while those deep, critical conversations are happening, the more popular, simplified version of Ubuntu just kept spreading. And it had a massive cultural moment in one year in particular, 2008.
First up, the basketball court. The Boston Celtics made Ubuntu their team motto, their rallying cry. For them, it was the perfect word for a team-first philosophy, a constant reminder that the only way they were going to win a championship was by playing as one.
And then it showed up on our computers. The super popular free operating system, Ubuntu, is named directly after the philosophy. It's meant to reflect that collaborative, open-source spirit of sharing knowledge and tools for the good of everyone.
So after all this, the history, the voices, the applications, what's the big takeaway? Why does Ubuntu matter for us right here, right now?
I think, ultimately, this is the profound challenge it lays down for us. In a world that so often puts the individual on a pedestal, Ubuntu asks us to think differently. It suggests that our humanity isn't something we just have all on our own. It's something we build, something we share, and something we are responsible for, together. So this simple word from the heart of Africa offers a really profound question for our modern world. In a world of individuals, what happens, what truly changes, if we stop starting with I and start with we? That's the question Ubuntu leaves us with.